yeah, make sure you get when the light's coming in. I don't know if you're recording yet, if you're not, but I kind of got this winter weight going right now, John. You know, it's winter weight, but it's summer, so I got a little problem. So
how do you get winter weight? How do you get winter weight if it ain't? If it's...
Well, that's what I'm calling it.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So we just make sure that we're not. You know what I'm saying? The light is not catching the poo bear belly. You know what I mean?
So make sure the light.
Like a clean.
Make sure the light doesn't capture the. Okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
Do it make you look
lean? Let me know when
you're
ready.
You look great.
We'll kick this thing off. Welcome to South Omaha Speed. Got a treat for you tonight. Bob Shukart Shoes, who worked on the car in 1956 and was Howdy Williams' buddy, who put the small block Chevy in it before he went to the Army in the summer of 1956. He's coming over tonight. He's in town from Florida. He's in to see some family, and he's going to come by the shop and see the car for the first time since probably the 50s. So he's pretty excited. We're excited to share it with you and have him come in the shop and sit down with us and talk a little bit. So as soon as he gets in here, we get him to sit down, we'll get the lights where we need them, and we'll get it turned on and get going. So welcome back. Bob has made it. He's in his shop. So like I said before, Bob was with this car back in '56 when Howdy owned it. He was the second owner. And it's Bob Shukart, also known as Shoes. He was a Jack's member back in the day. And Bob, I thought we talked about how you and Howdy met and maybe your early years of racing and how you got involved with this car and take it from there.
Well, Howdy and I went to school together. We went to high school together. We just became buddies. We lived sort of in the same neighborhood, you know where Memorial Park is. Okay, I lived up just in Fair Acres there, and Howdy lived over in Happy Hollow off of there. So, and we got to know each other really tight. I mean, we were good
Grade
buddies.
School?
Huh?
Grade school time or?
No, high school.
Okay. Were you
high
Central?
And we both went to Central. And it just we just became real tight friends, and I had a '52 Ford and he had a '53, and we would do a little street drag racing.
Sure.
Back in the day when there weren't any cars on the road. You didn't hear that. We didn't street race. No, not at all.
Like every day.
And we both got into the Jacks in the early 50s. Well, 54.
Is that when Hartwell started them in 54? He kind of was.
I think that it was in that 54, 55. Because I remember we started drag racing in 54. And it's funny. I had a 31 Roadster, channeled down to about here. And had the flathead in it, and we put an Oldsmobile in the thing, but we wired it up. This was not Howdy and me, but this is the one we were working on. Wired it up to the Ford wiring structure, you know, one of my trucks.
With the solenoid and everything?
Yeah. And of course the Olds didn't run worth a damn at a Ford flathead. So, Mouse, get over here. And he went ding with the thing, and it fired off and went great. You know,
Bob Hartwell, Mouse.
Yeah, Bob Hartwell, yeah. Anyway, we started that, I don't even remember where we raced, where we went. It might have been on Scribner. But...
That would have been back in the 53 to 56.
Yeah, a long time ago, yeah.
Those 3 years they let people...
And then, Howdy and I we just bummed together. I was telling you that a while back, if I broke something, we'd fix it. If he broke something, we'd fix it, you know, kind of thing. And we took Mouse's car, the 40, down to Kansas City one time in the early 50s again.
Before this car was started, right?
What's that?
Before he built this?
Before,
Before Mouse built this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, Howdy and I, we were part of the Jacks, and we all went down there as a club. And
did Mouse's car have the Olds in it at that time, right?
Yeah. In the 40.
Yes.
Yeah. And I got to drive it. And I was one of just a couple of guys that got it over 100 miles an hour. First time I'd ever been over 100 miles an hour and a quarter. And I figured, well, I got her slowed down enough right now. I went to turn and go, chirp, 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 turning her around type thing. Anyway, didn't wreck the car. And then, we did some racing. I did a lot of roundy round racing, jalopy stock cars and stuff in that same period of time. And
like at Playland, go to Playland Park at Council Bluffs?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah. And I hadn't done much drag racing then at all, but Howdy bought this car and I think there was a different frame under it, because you built this frame, as I recall, right?
Yeah, when Howdy bought it from Hartwell, I think the engine was originally, Hartwell kept his big Ols out of the car, correct? Yeah. So you got it as a roller with the Hartwell frame. I think the frame got separated in the late 60s from it. Yeah.
And then back then the small block Chevy was coming out in 55, or it was either late 55 or early 56 that we could buy a whole small block Chevy V8 for $395 with a clutch, with a water pump, as I recall, intake manifold, no carburetor, and I don't think it had a distributor in it. I don't remember. But you bought the whole thing, and we bolted it in this car.
Do you remember?
Only it sat up. The motor was up here in the stock location.
Okay.
Took it off to Scribner, or no, maybe. Where did we drag that thing to? Grand Island, maybe. On the ground.
Flat toed it.
Got up there, and the gearbox was busted. It didn't have enough oil in it, and it locked up. It didn't go. Couldn't make it go. Well, then I got married on July 1st of 56. Went into the service. Howdy put it together like this, as you've got the pictures of it with the Ols, and went to Bonneville with it.
So he set the motor back for the Bonneville trip, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And I had nothing to do with that. The work I did on the car was we put the motor in and stuff, and then I was telling you I was learning body work, banging on the trunk lid that was a little wrinkly at the time, and there wasn't any louvers in it then. It's
not any better, but it has louvers now, but it's still a little wrinkly.
Yeah.
Where'd you buy that engine at? Do you remember?
Yeah, Rosa Novak Chevrolet. They were a Hudson dealership, and then they took over Chevrolet dealers. And they're the same company that was Rosa Novak Cadillac. But yeah, Rosa Novak had a little shop on, I don't know if it was on Harney or Farnham. Can't remember what street it would have been on. 20, had to have been after 24th, wouldn't it? 26th, 27th, 28th maybe, something in there.
You worked down there?
Yeah, I did as a kid. My dad got me a job. He and Mr. Novak were tight friends, and he got me a job. Oh, you'd love this. He got me as a job when I was 15, down in the shop. Now, the shop was, cars went on an elevator, went down into the basement, then we worked on them down there. And I remember the first day I was there, happened to be on, I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday. They had me changing oil, then you crawled under on a creeper with a pan and everything, and I fell asleep. And the guys decided to play a joke on me. So they turned off all the lights. I think it was a Saturday, because it was Saturday, it was shut down at noon on Saturdays. Turned off all the lights, and it was quiet, and of course I woke up and it's dark. And then here comes a creeper flying across the floor and everybody laughing.
The good old days.
One of those things, you're a young kid.
Yeah.
But when I got back from the service, Howdy was working with Bob. I'm horrible on names. You get to be 9,000 years old, you forget names. But anyway.
It wasn't Burns, was it?
No, it was Ellick, Bob Ellick.
Okay.
And running a dragster. Howdy was the first guy to go 180 miles an hour in Nebraska in a fuel car. And as a matter of fact, there's a picture of it at the museum, the Speedway Museum in Lincoln. of that car because Speedway sponsored him at the time.
Was it an Olds motor or was it a Hemi?
Hemi.
Hemi.
That was a Hemi on that one. But Howdy had used the Hartwell motor for, I'm thinking this car and then whatever else after he sold it, but I was gone for 4 years in the service.
So basically, Hartwell kept the big motor when he sold it to Howdy.
Yeah.
Did you guys help chop the car? Did Howdy help chop the car when Mouse?
I did not. I don't know if Howdy did or I don't think Howdy did.
Okay.
Although I can't say for sure because I don't know.
Sure, right.
All I know is that Howdy ended up with the car, bought the car.
But didn't get the big motor. He didn't get the Olds motor.
Not then. No, it was in Bob's 40. It's
Okay.
still in Hartwell's 40.
Was that the same engine? When he came to town from California with that 40,
Yeah.
with the Olds motor. Is that
Yeah.
the same engine?
Same engine.
So he took it out, put it in this, and he put it back in his car.
Yep.
His 40. Sold this to Howdy without an engine.
Yeah. And I bought that motor from Howdy in '61.
So that's the same motor he ran at 57 at Bonneville
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So at some point he bought the motor back from he got the motor from Hartwell. Put
And
it
it
in
was
57.
based on a 323 bored out 1/8 inch over, so it had 345 inches. And Howdy and Howdy helped me build my T dragster. It was a B modified roadster, with slingshot set in like a digger. But when I first had it, it was wide rear end. It looked like the old days, and then I had a dragster rear end put in it with it cut out the fender wells and stuff.
So when you say digger, that means you're sitting over the rear end and you're in the
Yeah,
trunk?
you're sitting over the rear end's right between your legs.
So you take the trunk lid off and you're sitting in that opening, basically.
Yeah. Down in low and
You sit on a banjo at that point? A banjo style Ford rear end?
Yep. Yeah, and it had Shorty Cook. I was telling you about. He put the Lincoln brakes and axles in the old banjos, and they
Like a 9-inch conversion they do today, but it was Lincoln style.
yeah.
You bet.
No different, but it was cool, and I never broke a rear end. And then I used the cam that was in the Hartwell motor, and I would switch back and forth. It used the same cam in both engines, with the one with the blower, the one with the carburetors.
Okay.
The one with the blower, we filled the block full of dental cement to keep it from collapsing under the big pressure with the blower on it. And I ran that Roadster. Here's a funny story. It was running in the 130s, low 130s, 10 something with the Hartwell motor in the digger. And I told them, guys, I want to build a blower motor so I could go in the 9s and 140. Howdy says, better bring your lantern and a lunch. So, believe it or not, first time out, she ran 992 and 142 miles an hour.
Good for you.
And that thing, I think the cam, horrible, you know the name of the cam company.
Howard, or Chet Herbert.
Chet Herbert cams. I just plain ran out of camshaft, I think, with the blower on, because it went 142 point every time it ran.
Mm-hmm.
Never any faster. If it went slower, I know something went wrong with the motor.
Right.
That's really
consistent.
Weird. But then I got away. Well, we were drag racing. Howdy was fuel running, and so we got a little bit separated as far as what we were doing. And then in the late 66, 67, I got a chance to buy a California funny car. And it was the fiberglass trans Corvair. Looked like a Camaro because they stretched it in the front and slid the back far.
Sure.
And it looked looked a lot like a Camaro. And I went the fastest that I ever gone in any car. It had a 327 in it on 30%.
Nitro. And
we were down in Kansas somewhere, and I got that sucker right down about 9.1 and 170 miles an hour.
Wow.
And usually I could run it on alcohol or run it on fuel, and I made more money in the show car business with it than I did on the drag racing.
Sure.
But yeah, my nickname is Shoes. The side of the car, it said Bob Big Shoes Shukart, the Nebraska Fat Man. Was the name of the car.
So I was, funny you say that because I was talking to Cal Campbell.
Yeah.
Here a while back, and I had mentioned your name, and he goes, Shoes?
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, everybody knew you by Shoes, sounds like, so, yeah. Why is that?
Calvin beat me more damn times. I'd burn him off the line and go like hell, and down at the lights he'd go, yeah, like that, just get by me, because he was a mile an hour more than I was.
Sure.
Oh.
Right.
Nah, we go back a long ways with him.
Why'd they call you Shoes?
And I just came, you taught me about Terry Fritsch.
Yeah.
He's a go-kart racer.
Okay.
Now we remember, he and his dad, we used to go-kart race big time in the early 60s. And that was a lot of fun, and I built my own karts until the mid-70s. We bought one. Another guy and I got partnered up with it, but...
Were you running McCullough's? McCullough, 2-strokes?
Yeah.
101s?
What was it, an MC9? That was Mac 9.
Were the tracks close to here? Were they road courses?
Yeah.
Was there a lot of tracks around here?
Well, yeah, we ran all over the place. We ran out in Papillion, ran out in Norfolk, we ran out Grand Island, I think.
Papillion had a track here in town?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I had mine was, I ran a McCulloch. I had twin engines on mine. And I ran with home lights originally. And then I bought 2 McCullochs and put on the thing. And it did all right. I did all right.
Very cool.
Mouse never did any golf, well, of course, I don't know. He was gone by that time.
He went back to California?
Well, I guess so. I don't know what happened to him.
There was a story that I heard that in '55, the reason why he sold his car, because the cops were after him.
Oh, the cops were, if they got your number back in the 50s and the 60s, you couldn't drive down the road at the speed limit and stop at a stoplight. They would stop you every damn time.
They're looking for you.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't there a motorcycle cop brigade in town, and they were kind of really after the street racers?
But if you were just obeying the law, they'd stop you anyway.
Sure.
Once they got your number, that was it.
Right.
I never had that problem, and I don't know that Howdy ever had that problem. Mouse might have, because he probably lit that 40 up a few times out there on the street.
Right, for sure.
And there was a guy in town then that had a Volkswagen with a Chevy in it.
Jeez, that'll get it done.
And I think, yeah. And they nailed him all the time. So this guy took it and he built. He had a 31 A-Bone sedan. And he, different car, so they didn't recognize it.
Right.
And he didn't get in trouble with him.
Right.
But yeah, the old days were just a blast. I mean, it's some of the stuff. Well, as a matter of fact, the Singh brothers bought the old dragster that Howdy had. I put the Hartwell motor in it, and I drove it.
Okay.
And we did okay. I finished a lot of second places, but
you were doing it.
You win a few, we finished a lot of
yeah,
seconds. So.
Out there living it for sure.
Yep.
You had mentioned that you and Howdy worked at McFadden Ford downtown?
Yeah, when we were just out of high school, we went to work for McFadden, I guess. Yeah, I don't know why you say McFadden Ford. And then we both went to work for the Lincoln Mercury dealer for a while. Kind of, doing the stuff we knew how to do, sort of.
Right, that building's still there. McFadden Ford is now the Children's Museum downtown, which is pretty amazing it still exists.
Yeah. And it's, if I can digress a little bit, the Anglias, where that's gas or Anglias. My dad, the first car he bought me was a stock Anglia. Little 4-cylinder thing with a 3-speed on the floor. A stick on the floor. Somebody said, how much rubber that thing burn? And yeah, crash, you know, shattered the gearbox.
Yeah.
We bought it from McFadden Ford. We took it back to McFadden's and they put a gear, you know, did the gearbox on it. And they screwed it up. And I'm driving like an old lady because I don't want to break this thing again, and gets in second gear and it won't come out.
Right.
And I'm going, and it goes crash. Of course, I got blamed for breaking it.
They could tell your dad that the car's broke again.
Well, I said, Dad, it wouldn't come on in second gear. I was driving it like an old lady, which I was because I didn't want to break it again. Right. And they said, no, it was his fault. They charged my dad again for the gearbox, but anyway.
Right.
And then he sold that and had a 52 Ford, but anyway.
Sure. Very cool. Well, thanks so much. Thanks so much for coming by the shop. And it's been, what, 65 years since you've seen this thing last?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that's a long time.
And by the way, if you guys are wondering, Tom's doing a pretty good job of this. I was getting on him a little bit about this and that and the next thing, but he straightened me out. He's doing quite well.
If anybody straightened anybody,
he's quite a craftsman.
You helping me out. So many times we've talked on the phone asking questions and how things were and what you suggested. He's actually an old hot rod builder, right? You build hot rods here in town.
Oh yeah. If I had to do it anymore, I'll be 85 in a month. And if I had to build my car now, I couldn't do it.
Well, hey, when these cameras go off, I'm looking for some help here, bud. I'm hoping you're going to stay a little bit and do some wrenching. So
I can't get up and down anymore.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way.
Oh yeah, but you're a young thing, you know what the?
My goodness, it's catching up with me. Well, thank you so much for coming by, Bob, and seeing the car.
Oh, I wouldn't have missed this for the world.
Thank you so much for the interest and all the information, and it means a lot. Thank you, and passing that on.
Well, appreciate it. I love doing it. You know, you get me talking, I'm never going to shut up, so I guess we better get off the air here.
We'll save the good stuff for when the camera's off. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Appreciate you. We'll catch you next time on South Omaha Speed. Thank you.